Hello everybody and welcome back to the Good Bit podcast. No, don't worry, Chris hasn't had a voice change. It's Iona. And I thought I'd introduce the podcast this week.
Which is really unusual because, first of all, no one ever does it other than me. And two, This is going to be about a wrestling movie.
Yeah.
If anybody should be introducing this one, it should be moi.
Yeah, no, but how amazing is that? Your own girlfriend who you've taken to see the wrestling, who's now went to see a wrestling movie and is now introducing on your own podcast the wrestling movie you took me to see. How amazing are you?
I'm
You're
amazing.
So cool.
Thank you for saying that. It's really kind of what I catch. It's really boosted my self-esteem. The next thing is for you to be a guest on the Wrestling Connection podcast.
Oh, Christ.
That I do miss, everybody. I do
I've tried
miss.
to avoid that one.
No,
I said I'd do it.
Yeah, we were going to do that. For those who don't know, I had a wrestling-themed podcast that I did all throughout lockdown, every single week, called The Wrestling Connection with my friend Glenn. It was some of my favourite podcasting experiences I've ever had. But as I'm now learning again, difficult to maintain a weekly podcast schedule.
Yeah. I listen to that one sometimes.
Back in the day, or you go back to listen to ones now? That might be good. Sometimes we did so many of them, right? Sometimes I'll put a clip on or something and I'm laughing away, man. And I'm like, I just totally don't remember this whatsoever. So it is still out there. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on all these places. We never did video though. But yeah, the Wrestling Connection. And we had a theme song and we had artwork that Fraser made and stuff that we never ended up using because we stopped doing the podcast and stuff. So I would love to do it again. There's so much, like, because I watch so much wrestling content, it's like I could actually do one every week or every day, essentially. There's a podcast I listen to called Busted Open. And it's like they do a thing every day and it's like I would have so much to say about that.
But I love, that's the one of the things I love about you, not to get all but you just know so much about it. And like you can talk about it, you're so passionate and you love it so much. And was it at dinner the other night? Was it at dinner? No, it was when we went to see the Bonnie Boys and we all went for lunch before it. Myself, my family, good friend Holly, Malolly joined us, and they just started quizzing you on like. No.
They did not. It's like I would have loved them to start quizzing me.
Not quizzing you, no, but they kept like they were asking about WrestleMania matches. Was it?
I think so.
Specific?
They were asking me about where WrestleManias have been held.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And he just knew off the top of his head.
But it's weird because it's not like something that I've gone, I'm going to learn that.
No, you just know it.
Through my entire life, I have been so, like, I'm just obsessed. And it's not even something that I go, right, I need to remember that. I just know it.
You just know it, yeah.
I just know it. One of my party tricks is being able to tell you stuff about films. And like when they came out and that sort of thing, who directed this.
You're good with years.
Like I'm good with that stuff, right? Yeah. That is one of my better kind of qualities that I'm quite good at remembering information that you don't actually need. You know what I mean? Like it's not really serious information.
Yeah.
But when it comes to wrestling, you think I'm bad with movies. Like it is. I understand it is ridiculous. And if we were to go to a wrestling pub quiz somewhere in the town, we would win some cash dollar. And I've never done it.
Why not? We should.
I did a wrestling quiz podcast once. So I was a guest on a podcast. It was called Quiztastic 4 with Glenn. And it was right when we started talking.
When was that?
Two other people that I didn't know. Right, it was the middle of lockdown. And I was a guest. I was a panellist on a wrestling quiz podcast. Right?
You've never told me this.
I have told you this. I have because I've had this moan before. I've never spoken about it on air though. I've never talked to it publicly, so this is going to be...
it's an exclusive.
I really hope the people who were on the podcast with the quiz don't listen to this. But we did the podcast, right? And it was like a scoring system, but it was a kind of odd way they were doing the points. Where like it was just like, because we're all in our own houses, right? It was middle lockdown and stuff. We were all like zooming in, right? And the guy would ask the question. You would have 10 seconds to come up with your answer, and then they'd go like, right, Chris, what did you put? And I would say my answer. Okay, right, Iona, what was your answer? So if cheating was an option, it's not in my head. If you cheat, you're only cheating yourself. Then you could just, if you get the answer wrong, you could just change your answer to what the last person said, right? And then you would get the points, right? If that's what you wanted to do. If you not, I don't have a clue, and then someone says something, you go, that sounds about right. Yeah. I'll go with that. But I like to give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that wasn't happening. I was doing pretty good. I didn't get every question right. I got maybe 2 or 3 wrong. And the last question was a particularly difficult one, right? But a particularly difficult one that I knew, right? I just knew it. Right. One of those things I've always known. I had a video about Rey Mysterio when I was really, really young, right? And I've always remembered this random fact. And for somehow, this random fact was the last question in this quiz. I couldn't believe
Of
it.
course.
So the guy asked the question, and I'm like, oh. So I write it down. I'm like, yes, I know the answer. So I write it down. I'm so happy. I'm like, I have won this quiz. And annoyingly, the host comes to me first for an answer. So I said my answer first. And then the other guy, who clearly had no clue what the answer was because I kept asking stupid questions and making points, and he just went, oh, well, yeah, that's what I wrote. And it was the right answer. And he had more points than me. And because he said, oh, I said the same as guys, he won and not me. I was absolutely fuming. I went for a walk around my neighbourhood and I did a vlog. And I was like, I was robbed. Absolutely robbed, I tell you.
It was a fact.
It was a bit like wrestling. So, absolutely. I don't know why we're talking about that, because we're going to talk about the Iron Claw. We're going to do the pose. If you watch the video, you get to see the pose. About the Von Erichs. But I was going to ask you, how's your week been? You were busy watching some stuff this week, now that you are a member of the Cineworld Unlimited Card Club.
I know. I wasn't at the cinema though. No, I went to see new movie, and it was a good movie.
Yes.
And it just made me want to watch more new things that were good.
And what was that new movie you saw?
The Holdovers.
The Holdovers, which you can see on a previous episode. Or you can't see it, but you can hear us talk about it.
Right, I see. I didn't know how episodes would be going out.
This one will be going out after the Holdovers and after the Oscars, yeah.
Makes sense. So, went to see the Holdovers and
the Iron Claw.
And the Iron Claw. And yeah, it just made me want to watch some more new things. So, tried my best. Because we all know, I know what I like and I stick to it. And I've got my comfort things. And I also binge watch things. So I tried not to do that. So I did start with a show that people have been telling me to watch that I would really like, called The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon on Apple TV.
Really fancied that, actually.
And who's the guy that's in it? He plays Gru. And
Steve Carell.
Him.
Jesus, Iona.
Oh, that
should know Steve Carell.
Bad. I know, but all the funny guys all muddling into one. Put it on, first episodes, and I thought I don't want to watch it.
On the first episode?
Yeah, thought nope.
You didn't think I'm going to give a couple episodes?
Literally. But in my head I was like, I need to give it a couple episodes. Because he's in it, I thought, oh, it'd be funny. I knew it would be a drama. Well, he's in season 1, I don't know about the rest, but
I think they kill him off.
well, the way it starts, I'm like, why does it start like that? I want to get to know the characters, so then the downfall that happens hits hard. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, I just kind of get bored, and then I left it a week, and I watched episode 2. And yeah, still not
for you.
No, and because it's like Jennifer Aniston, her character is like quite dramatic and over the top and like a bit not even dramatic, but she has these moments of like pure kind of it girl, like bitchy. I am the boss. Like this is my show. I run it. Even though she's got literally no power at all, but I don't know. I'm just like, is this a drama? Is it a drama?
Is it funny?
Is it funny? Is it a comedy? Am I supposed to be laughing at her having a freak out in the car? But then I'm like, but something really horrendous has happened where her like our TV husband that she's worked with on the news with for like 15 years, however long it is just like been fired because he's having like inappropriate relations with other staff members. Like that was like the big like moment at the beginning of episode 1. And then she's having this pure freak out in the car, and I'm watching it and I'm like, I might be laughing at you or like feeling really bad for you. I cannot tell. And I think that's the issue. But at the same time, which is really frustrating me, which is why I think I might watch another episode, is Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston had a moment. They're both journalists.
And sisters, of course.
What?
She's Rachel's sister in Friends. Sorry, carry on.
Jesus Christ.
See that long pause there? They're gonna get it.
They've got this moment where Jennifer Aniston's playing this really established journalist, like on the morning show. This is her place, and Reese Witherspoon's like this up and coming correspondent that's kind of hopped from channel to channel newsroom to newsroom trying to make a career, and she comes on the show because she basically has an outburst and it goes viral online. So she comes on the show so Jennifer can interview her, and they have like this. They kind of go head to head. It's this moment of these two strong female characters coming together, having a conversation, and they're both trying to one up each other and kind of catch the other one out, kind of see how far the other one will go, kind of talk about some things on live television, and it was really intense. And I thought, oh,
that sounds good.
And that dynamic, I'm like, I'm in for that. I want to watch that. But all the bits in between, and the whole Steve Carell character, I'm like, why? How? I don't get it.
So, question: how much have you actually watched this?
I've only watched 2 episodes, and they're like, I think they're about like an hour long.
Right. Well, I think it's so early.
No.
How long in a season?
But I need
how long
I
is a
don't know. But I need to get hooked.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it's a TV show. It takes a while to get hooked. But you're right. I know a lot of people. They tune out of the first episode if it's not immediately grabbing you.
Especially because I can't tell if I'm into Jennifer Aniston's character. I can't tell if I'm into like her, feel sad for her, if I'm on her side, if I'm not, if I'm like, no, she's horrible, she's a cow, like.
But I was genuinely asking you before, is it funny?
No,
I'm not asking, is it supposed to be funny? Have you laughed?
I have, because there's some kind of ridiculous moments or ridiculous reactions or characters, and it is kind of funny. Like, you know how in Succession there was those kind of moments and it's a bit funny or ridiculous.
And quirky.
Yeah. There's a couple of those kind of moments. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems really.
Well, I think that
Pigglety.
I think you need to watch a little bit more of it because you've clearly watched enough of it to go, I know what the story is. I was invested for a bit. I think you might be being slightly unfair until you watch more of it to probably say that you don't get it.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Well, I probably will.
That's good though, because it's obviously you've started it. You've got these unanswered questions. You've documented it.
Yeah.
So I think you should watch a bit more and then report. Even just watch the first season.
Yeah.
And then we can report back as we go.
Well,
I would watch it too.
I think it's meant to be good. Like, so many people have told me to watch it, and this is the thing as well. They've said it's my kind of show.
Right.
It's up my street. It's exactly what I'd like.
It's a recommendation.
And I'm like, oh, don't do that because it just puts me off.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you watched that, and hopefully you can get hooked at some point.
Yeah. And I've also watched have you heard this One Day on Netflix?
Yes, I have heard about it. I heard it's quite good.
I watched first episode the other day, and I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Really enjoyed it. I didn't actually realise it was a series. I thought it was a movie.
Yeah. I watched did you have more to say? I thought you were just telling me you'd watched it. I watched the documentary about We Are the World. You know the
We Are the World.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah.
We Are the Children.
Well done. Big fan of that sort of stuff, like the kind of big life events and what it would be like. It's just not the same anymore. Like, if they did something like that, it just wouldn't be as impactful because we have so much access to all of our favourite celebrities, the biggest stars in the world. Now, don't get me wrong, it would be a big hit if all these massive pop stars and rock stars and stuff came together. We've obviously had some collaborations recently and stuff like that, and that's been great. But this was a huge thing. Huge. Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie.
They're making a new
Bruce Springsteen.
Biopic of Michael Jackson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yes, I saw that. And who's playing him?
He's nephew, cousin, something. Yeah, so
that does
buzzing.
look good. So it's a documentary, about an hour and a half on Netflix about recording We Are the World. It was very, very interesting. I love the fact that we have real footage from back then that's been sitting there for years. It was like that Robbie Williams documentary or that David Beckham documentary last year. They've had all this footage.
Where have they been storing that?
Know what I mean? So good, so candid. But
yeah.
And speaking of really candid, there is a documentary out there called Tragedy and Triumph, the history of world-class championship wrestling. And it is all about WCCW, which was obviously in Texas wrestling in the 70s and 80s, kind of driven by the Von Erich family and the Freebirds. And as a documentary I watched when I was maybe 13 or 14, like a good while ago, right? Mm-hmm. That had the DVD and didn't think much of, thought, wow, that's a really interesting story, but obviously was really young.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see the matches, you know? But I've always been kind of mature that way.
Show me the good bits.
Exactly.
I meant that.
People sometimes are amazed that that's why the podcast is called this. I don't understand why. It's
How
called
did
The
you
Good
come up with it?
Bit.
Sorry,
this is a
go on.
toast. Jesus, Iona.
Sorry, that was a really good segue. You're making.
I know. Me and Aaron were trying to come up with a name that was like a saying,
Oh, right,
you know.
okay.
So we came up with the good bits coming up. So the whole point
too
was
long.
going to be we're going to talk about the film and then we're going to build up to the best bit of the film.
I see.
And we thought that was too long of a name,
Yeah.
and then I
Agree.
suggested, what about the good bit? But I don't like how it sounds in my accent. The good bit.
The good bit.
I also don't like the fact that it's got a "the" at the start of it. It's a "this" something. I like the names that hit you in the face. But I digress.
Good bit podcast? No, it
Good
used to
bits.
be
No.
the
I mean,
good
like,
bit. The good bit.
no, I know, but if it was something else, chat time with Chris or something like. No, it's not the chat.
Oh, aye, that would make
You
sense.
see what I mean?
But it's good bit. The good bit.
Good bits of films. I don't know. That's a story for another day.
Anyway,
But yeah.
documentary.
So this documentary came out years and years and years ago. Watched it, knew about it. Unbelievable story. And as I got older, I would think back to the story. This was announced ages ago that they were doing a film about it, but there's loads of stuff that comes out now, documentaries, and you know, I was like, oh yeah, cool. That is a good story.
Yeah, you never thought much of it.
And you know, every film now is based on a true story somehow. Somebody
I know.
sneezes and they go, oh, we're gonna make a film about that. Like it's a bit. This
COVID.
is an actual story. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is an actual real thing they could do. And then they cast Zac Efron, and I was like, oh, really? And he's playing Kevin Von Erich, who's not even the main one. The main Von Erich was Kerry Von Erich, the one that made it big in WWE. The brother that Zac Efron plays is Kevin Von Erich with a kind of longer, straighter hair, who was like the one that was like poised in position to be the man, but always got overshadowed by his other brothers.
Oh, I totally thought he was the main Von Erich.
Well, he is in the film. Like, the film is
Well,
about him.
aye, but
The film is about Zac Efron's character. But Kerry Von Erich, the one that Jeremy Allen White plays, the guy from The Bear, who was a
That
football player.
no, he was not an Olympian.
Olympian, he's Olympian.
Very different thing.
Very different thing. And he comes in, he loses his foot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He
Oh, that
was the
gruesome,
one.
Man.
He's like the big star from the family,
Yeah.
but it was supposed to be Kevin. So that's
Okay.
what the story is, and all these things that happened to the family. I was very, very impressed and curious to see how they were going to do the thing about his foot. Really interesting about how he looked, because they shot. I mean, it was brilliantly done.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I was like, well, here we go. And obviously I knew the story, but it was nice to get a bit of a refresher. And I was like, oh yeah, that happens. And is it this that happens? Right, okay. Zac Efron is a person that, you know, we laugh about it all the time, about High School Musical and stuff like that. But he is one of the people when I was younger, I totally looked up to. Was like the coolest celebrity at the time for people my age. To see him do that is a total crossover. And I loved it.
And the body transformation.
The shape that boy's in.
It's quite scary.
Oh my
actually.
god, you said it on the podcast before, he's quite scary now.
It's quite scary looking, and just like there was a shot of him, one of the first shots I think
Getting
we
out of
see
bed?
of him getting out of bed,
Yeah.
and it's the veins in his arm. I'm like, oh, it just freaks me out. No, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Even like watching the wrestling, some of the wrestlers are like pure massive
The huge guys.
shoulders and like I don't know what the muscle is, but the muscle in between like your neck and your shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like a pure
Your,
hump.
is that your delts? No.
I don't know.
Your lat?
I don't know. I didn't study body, but that
Body.
my body.
I didn't study
Um,
body.
Guess my brain is switching off. That is just quite scary. So like for him to like go from, because then when I think
Troy
of
Bolton.
when I think of Zac Efron, I think of Troy Bolton. Like he's just not aged.
Troy.
Troy Bolton or like Baywatch.
He's
not,
quite
not
big in
Baywatch.
Baywatch.
Not Baywatch. What is that called? Is Baywatch
With
a
The
movie?
Rock.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
What?
I went to see Baywatch with Zac Efron and The Rock, and I didn't go with them, they were in the film. And The Rock comes up to at one point and says to them, let's go High School Musical.
Yeah.
And I was
I remember Dad found that bit extremely funny.
brilliant.
yeah. What do you think of the movie? It's alright.
I knew you were going to do that. It's 7 minutes to midnight, everybody. And Iona's going stuck crazy. So we're here to talk about the Iron Claw.
The Iron Claw. No, right.
What did you think?
No, it was quite good. I didn't know much about the story. That's a lie.
You didn't know anything.
Yeah, no, I did. You told me.
Alright.
Or you said to me really tragic things happened to like all the kids.
But I didn't tell you what the tragic things were.
You kind of hinted at them.
Did I?
Yeah, you're like, they die.
No, no, I didn't.
You did. I knew they
Why
died.
would that open?
I knew they died.
No.
You told
I'll
me
tell
they
you how
died.
you knew. I'll tell you how you knew. Because right at the start of the film, it came up like rated 15, and it told you bits that are in it, like nudity, sex references, hard drug use, suicide. What a spoiler!
Well, you said different tragic things happened to each of the sons.
Right.
And that,
Did not mention death, but okay.
yeah, I definitely knew they died. Walking into it, I thought people are dying in this. That's a very lovely thought.
What a happy Saturday it must have been for you.
Oh, it was. I was at the cinema with you, darling. Yeah, it was. I'm trying to know things about it. What did I like?
Zac Efron's body.
No.
No, you said you didn't like that.
No, I didn't like that.
Okay, I'll ask you another question then. If you don't know what you don't know, I did actually right before we started recording. I said think about what you want to say.
You did. I was too busy texting Neve. It was you've just taken it out my head. Aye, do you know what I liked? I liked the relationship that you saw with the brothers and the kind of the closeness and the bond that they had. Because it was like, I don't know, seeing like, I'm a sister, so we're like emotional wrecks and actual psychopaths, right?
And you come from numerous siblings.
Focus
right?
on numerous psychopaths.
No,
which
but
is
no,
true.
like
Quite a lot in the
like
family.
like them. You know what I mean?
So like I just thought it was like a girl thing, but like seeing brothers be quite close with each other and like, I was going to use the word intimate, wrong word. Like physical touch was like a huge part, whereas in my head you think of brothers in the movies and they're always fighting and go away, I don't love
Well, they
you.
are like manly men, but they're hugging each other, they're telling each other they love each other and stuff.
Like
which is
it
really
was
nice.
lovely and endearing. It was really nice because like wrestling, it's a man's sport.
Not necessarily, but I know.
Not
you mean.
really, but yeah. I don't know. That's the thought.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'll come up more. I mentioned something else.
That's okay. So I'm glad you came to see it with me and stuff because it was something. And as I think I mentioned this in the clip I'm going to play with Ian and Amanda and Ewan, but I think I mentioned I talked about this. Not that I was nervous going to see it. That's the wrong word. Nervous is the wrong word. But as a wrestling fan, you just are naturally protective of it. You know what I mean? People.
Yeah, you wanted it to do the sport justice
Yeah,
or the story justice, the family. Whatever.
People openly slag it and stuff like that, and this has always been my biggest thing with wrestling. When people are just like, you see, I know how it works. I know they're not really hitting each other. And when folks say that, I'm always like, look at them like,
nobody's trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you honestly think we're all sitting here going, oh my God, he picked him up and slammed him. How is he not dead? Like, no one, especially these days, no one's trying to kid you on. Right? No one's trying to kid you on. You're just supposed to go with it. That's the whole point, right? You watch it because it's theatre. You know, if you want to watch fighting, you go watch the UFC or you watch Bellator or boxing or something like that. Wrestling's sheer entertainment, right? And that's how you get good wrestling and bad wrestling and stuff like that, right? So there's wrestling movies out there, and I want to do a podcast about wrestling movies. Maybe get Glenn from the Wrestling Connection to come on. Talk about The Wrestler or Fighting with My Family or Ready to Rumble or Foxcatcher and these other films about wrestling. But this has got to be one of the best that they've ever made. Yes, because of the story and the characters and stuff, but they also did the actual wrestling justice. The camera's in the ring with Zac Efron, and you can see him drop kicking folk like it's actually him.
Yeah,
and it was kind of subtle with the way they were kind of getting around talking about the inner workings of the business. You know, there wasn't like a moment where it's like, and this is how we do it. Like Zac Efron and Lily James's character are out having lunch, and she says like, "Isn't it all fake?" And he's like, "Fake? Oh, there's nothing fake about what I do." And he tells her kind of how it works, and then it cuts to a clip of them backstage before a match, and the four of them are saying, you know, okay, here's what we're going to do. And I think that's good because I think a lot of people who are like haters of wrestling and people who look at you like you've got two heads when you say you're a wrestling fan, I think they're a bit like, well, it's all choreographed. And I'm like, the wrestlers would love it to be choreographed.
Yeah.
They would love the time to practice stuff. But the reality is, you've got a couple of hours.
And
You go and talk about it, and then you hope that it goes well in the ring. You've got one take, it's live in front of an audience. You can't mess up, and it shows you how good this is what happens when we talk about wrestling. It shows you how good of performers they all are. Then they don't get a lot of credit for it, because really bad performers, it wouldn't go as smoothly as it does. I can count on one hand how many times in the past 6 months something went wrong. You know what I mean? Production wise, in the ring, stumbling over words and stuff. So, and that was a kind of good depiction of it. And then as someone that obviously isn't a lifelong wrestling obsessive like me.
No, I'm not.
As someone went in kind of neutral, obviously you've got a tie to it because of me, but do you think it is a film that the non-wrestling fan can enjoy, the average person?
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's kind of what's gone down with me.
Yeah, because it's not pure heavy on the wrestling, because it is about the story and the family. But I think it kind of shines enough light on how it all works, but it's not too in depth that you switch off, you get bored, you're like, whatever, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
It's just
right.
And it was really impressive, like watching it all. You're like, oh, that's good. And I watched it, I was like, oh, you're gonna hate me for saying it, but I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm just watching like a wrestling match.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's what it is.
Why would I hate you saying that?
Because we're just talking about how it's like fake and choreographed and all that. So watching it, I was like, oh yeah, there's wrestling. Like, It
didn't feel like it was put on. You feel as if you were just watching.
Yeah.
That's good. But it's also interesting hearing that from you, because you've only seen this modern day, Americanized, global like WWE production that is so big, right? That's what it was like, see, in the 70s, where they
it was just a ring, that's it.
The spotlight over the ring, and there's no production, there's no fancy transitions, it's just, you know what I mean? So we should watch that documentary. I think it'd be interesting for you, just to see what that wrestling was like back in the 70s and the 80s, before WrestleMania, before, you know what I mean, the big globalization.
Yeah. It would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to see where something's come from. Do you know what I mean? Like, you see it as one big thing.
Well, that's kind of how I knew it was going to be a relatively safe watch for me as a wrestling fan, because there's been loads of non-wrestling people that I've spoke to about it or seen tweets about them or whatever, saying that they enjoyed it.
It was a good film. And the acting was really good. So.
Absolutely. Acting was really good.
Lily James, I forgot she was in it.
Yeah, she's weird.
I don't know.
We don't do negativity on this show. But
Hang on, right
then. But I wouldn't hear anything bad about Lily James on this show.
Have you been serious?
Have you seen Baby Driver?
Yeah, I have seen Baby Driver.
She's so hot, Baby Driver.
Alright, calm down.
And Mamma Mia too. But listen,
I'm right here, Chris.
Zac Efron is probably the best I've ever seen him, acting wise. And it made me want to go watch The Bear because of that guy, Jerry Mellon White.
Yeah, he was. Do you know? It made me like want to fight his corner, like, because he was like standing up to his dad and trying his best to like protect his like trying his best to fight his own corner, but also trying to protect his brothers and keep them okay and make sure they were okay.
That was nice, wasn't
it? His dad wasn't really doing that, so it was nice for that character to kind of step in. And he made me want to like fight for him because nobody else. You want him to do well. Yeah, because nobody else was really fighting for him or had his back. Like, I was ready to pick him up.
There's a really, really nice scene at the end because he's got kids, Kevin Von Erich, and he's like, Zac Efron's getting all emotional and stuff, and his kids come over. He's like, "Why are you crying?" And he's like, "I used to be a brother too, and now I'm not, and now I'm just a father." And it was really nice. And it's like, then I was saying to Iona, like, it's so cool because the kids that the actors are playing are now actually wrestlers, and they wrestle sometimes in ROH, which is a company that is owned by AEW. So now they're like actually wrestling, following from their family's footsteps and stuff. And Kevin Von Erich's still kicking about. So
it's just quite sad, like, that it all started, and it's because like the name is cursed.
That's the whole point, isn't it? The curse of the Von Erichs.
Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good film. And now we're going to pass over to a clip that I recorded a couple of weeks ago when I was in the studio with Ian and Amanda and Ewan. And just these are three definitely non-wrestling people, even less than Iona, unbelievably. They have never been to the O2 to see Money in the Bank.
No, they have not. They did spend all that money for an upgrade.
Well, I was very interested to hear Ian and Amanda. I mean, Ewan's Ewan.
I'm excited to hear Amanda's point of view.
You know what I mean? And I was actually a bit nervous to ask them because do you know what? For people who obviously they're watching this episode, whatever. They sent me a video when they were outside the cinema about to go in. So I would have
That's right, they
posted
did.
that on social media already as well. So I know what their thoughts were before the film. Let's hear what their thoughts are after they've seen the film. Chris in the future, handing over to other Chris. That was weird.
So hi, we're here. We're watching. What is it? We're watching
Wooden claw. Iron
The
claw.
Wooden Claw. The Wooden Claw, which is a film about wrestling.
But we're not sure if it starts at 20
We're not sure if it's that's right. So we've arrived way too early because it's about we're about 20 minutes early, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is the kind of sort of high value content we want to bring to you. Stories about how we've turned up early and now we don't know what to do with ourselves because the cafe's shut.
What's 10 past 8 and 10, half past 8?
20 past, it's 20 past.
It says 10, 8:10 and 10.
Oh, 8:10.
Yeah.
Oh no, 8:10. That means 25 minutes, doesn't it? It's a 25-minute thing. So 10 past and 25, so 25 to 9 is going to start.
So we can actually go in 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Because we've been for a wee burl around on the lifts.
yeah.
We didn't get the glass lift, so we were a wee bit
No,
upset.
but we got on a lift and we just went up and down for a
We
while,
went
didn't
up.
we?
And then we went down. And we got out of the cafe,
Okay.
it was locked.
It was locked.
And then we went down and the lift
And
filled.
yeah.
Filled.
Now if
Like
it, so
filled. But we're here, we're safe.
and
Floor
we've
five.
and we've got our mugs, haven't we? This is us. It's the way we do
If
it.
I'm not on a diet, I bring a wee tinfoil poke full of biscuits as well, but I'm
Yeah.
on a diet, so I've not
Yeah.
got my bourbons this time.
So this is the kind of content that we think that's going to hoist the good bit right up the rankings. Eh?
I'm just hoping there is a good bit in this film.
Yeah. But the question is, what did we think of it? We think we know what Chris thinks of it, but what do we think of it?
To be
That's nice, yeah.
Okay.
We can fit that in.
So now you've seen the film that we've done.
That was really smooth, yeah. Yeah.
That
so-
was good. It'll edit.
Well, I did really well, but you also referred to it as the Wooden Claw.
Yeah, I know. Gold. So,
So you saw the Iron Claw,
same scale.
so
a film I was looking forward to all year.
you must have been.
Finally here, and you guys have got to
Did you
see
enjoy
it.
it?
Yes.
Good.
And it's not my favourite film of all time.
No,
Don't be ridiculous.
I didn't say.
That's because there probably wasn't enough wrestling. in
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was going to say. It's
What
not
I will
really
say,
about
though-
wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, I will say when it comes to wrestling, this is the sort of stuff. Here I go. When it comes to wrestling films, I get quite nervous. Okay, I don't know if you feel like that. If you're passionate about something, then there's a film made about
with
it.
ballet films, I get quite passionate.
Okay,
about, yeah.
that- you know what I
In case
mean?
They're done badly.
In case I've done badly.
Badly. Yeah, but.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I know.
Why did you look at me as if to say it's nonsense? You've never worried about worried about a ballet film in your life. I have.
Because I don't know what's going to come out of your mouth next. Curried?
So
I wasn't looking at you like that at all. What a lot of nonsense.
there's a film that came out in 2019 called Fighting with My Family.
Yeah.
It's with Florence Pugh and it's made by Stephen Merchant and Vince Vaughn's in it and The Rock's in it. And it was good. It was done well, and they kind of explained it well. You just worry because of the perception of what pro wrestling is
Yeah.
about the kind of theatre aspect of it. You're worried it's going to be made to look silly, right? And that's genuinely what I was feeling. But I'd heard lots of good things about it, and like people in the wrestling world being like, it's done quite well. And what I liked about it is it never. I won't spoil anything, but like it never like spoon-fed you too much information. It's more so like Lily James's character asks Zac Efron, "What isn't it all just fake? What you do?" And he's obviously all beat up. He's this huge guy. He's going through some things, and he has to explain it's maybe it's a predetermined sport and it's written down, but they actually have to go and do it.
Yeah.
Which is what I've always appreciated about it. So I like the fact they explained it in that way, and it wasn't too on the nose about it. So because of that, because that was quite early on in the film as well, I relaxed because I was like, okay, they're not going to make a fool out of something that I've been into all my life. Thought the acting was really good. The
Kind of appreciated the sport of it. Didn't
yeah,
you?
absolutely. Yeah, and they did lots of in-ring stuff, which I didn't expect. You could see the camera's in the ring with Zac Efron doing these jumps off the top rope and stuff like that, and he's in the gear. He's got hardly anything on. He's wrestling barefoot. You know what I mean? He's bulked up for the film. So I was appreciating that. So for those reasons is why I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But what about you guys?
Well, I did a bit of searching. I searched a couple of things about it after having seen the film, because I was looking for I think sometimes when you see a good film that's based on something that really happened, your immediate response, I don't know if anyone else is like me, is to look it up on YouTube and because I'm interested to see the real people and how it compares, those sort of things. And but subsequent to that, a film came up with Hulk Hogan talking about his years in wrestling and about how battered his body is and how many things are broken and all that.
Absolutely.
And he says, okay.
And Hulk Hogan's not even the worst for it.
And he says, people say it's a bit fake. Well,
this is it.
I should have stopped 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm falling apart. And you think, okay, I do appreciate it. But that is something that I would say about like Mandy was saying about the Iron Claws. It really shows you the athleticism of it and the commitment required, the levels of fitness, and I suppose the theatre of it, because it's not like they get together and have these long rehearsals and check out their script, is it?
No, definitely not.
No. So unexpected things will happen, I guess.
Absolutely.
And,
There's people have died there and then. You know what I mean? And now, when it comes to rehearsals, the way it's worked is like there's, if there's a storyline, they're building up to something, so they've got time to work through stuff and talk about it and that sort of thing. But a lot of the time, what I've always loved about it is that it's live on TV every week in front of an audience, one take. It has to be, and it's very rare that you go, oh, that never went the way it was supposed to go. Very, very rarely, which is why I've always been so into it. It's just one of those things. Everybody goes is into it at some point and grows out of it. It just never did. It's just because of the theatre aspect of it. And then as I got into theatre properly, I appreciate it on a whole other level and stuff. So that's sort of like why it's been my thing. Is that definitely going?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I think I would recommend it. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
And I wasn't. It was one that I was going to say, oh, you go and see that by yourself.
Yeah, I really
because I thought it was about
made
wrestling.
her go. Yeah.
But for all you guys out there wondering whether to go or not, you go. I think it satisfies everyone. Somebody that, whether you're into wrestling or not, it's good that it does. It's good wrestling. But also it's not about wrestling.
Not at all. It's about the family that they kind of go through.
It's an extraordinary story.
I see when they announced it, because I've seen documentaries about it.
Yeah.
I've got Blu-rays of the story and stuff in my house, and I was like, oh, people aren't going to be expecting it to go quite dark the way it goes.
And possibly not believe it.
Because we came out, who do you blame?
Yeah.
I didn't,
What's the I was going to say the Von Trapp family, but what are they called?
The Von Erichs.
Von Erichs.
The Von Erichs.
Von Trapp's that Sound of Music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very different.
Quite a different film.
The mother really annoyed me. I came out blaming
the mother.
her.
Yes.
And I didn't
Really?
know how the family might respond to that.
Because there was no... the father was obsessed and passionate and things like
Pushing
that, so he
them
was a
and-
bit blinded by that, whereas the
Yes.
mother was watching it, letting it
She was
happen.
like a non-participant. It was kind of like she was just
Guilty
watching
by-
it all.
Yeah.
by association.
Yeah.
And then,
almost.
when you hear the story of the family, when you watch the documentary stuff, it's about the brothers and stuff. You don't really hear about the mother, so that was quite interesting. To see, like that's a big part of the family. There's a very famous wrestler called Ric Flair. Don't know if you've ever heard of Ric Flair.
Indeed.
Woo! And he's one of the most imitated wrestlers ever. Everyone's got a Ric Flair. My one issue with the film is the actor that they cast as Ric Flair. They must have gotten hundreds of people to audition for Ric Flair, and I was like, that can't have been the best one. It just wasn't Ric Flair at all.
Which one was he?
He's the one with the kind of long blonde
He's
hair.
Mr.
Oh yeah, the glamorous
Mr.
one.
Gorgeous.
And
Mr. What's he called?
The Nature Boy.
Nature Boy.
Nature Boy. And he's so famous for these one-liners. He's like, I wear these expensive clothes and these expensive shoes. I don't know how much your shoes cost, but I would be too embarrassed to wear them. And he says it like this.
Yeah.
And he's just this kind of flamboyant character. And he's got these classic interviews that he's done. And they did it word for word at some points with stuff he said before.
Yeah.
Ric Flair's so over the top as a person, and this actor just wasn't playing him over the top. I think he was being conscious of, I better not overdo this, you know. And I was sitting going, what are you doing? That was the only thing I didn't like about it.
I remember wrestling on sort of cable or satellite television in the late 80s.
World of Sport. Like a
Oh
Big
no,
Daddy?
no. This was after that.
Okay.
But the American stuff.
Yeah,
showing up.
like Hulk Hogan and stuff.
And
yeah.
there was Hulk Hogan. There was Andre the Giant. There was Ricky Piper.
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper.
Scottish, yeah.
Supposedly, yeah.
Born in Toronto.
Yeah, but the thing is, they were athletic. You know, a lot of them were.
Yeah.
A lot of them were. And they had this obvious, real. You know, I mean, they had extraordinary villains and things like that. But the British ones, the ones that I used to grow up watching on a 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon,
Haystack and Big Daddy.
Giant Haystack, but they were
love
not athletes.
No. But they were
You know,
attractions.
Jackie Pallow,
And
people
I'm
like
telling
that.
you-
He had a ponytail, so
They'd be
everyone
better
thought
in
he
the
was
darts
exotic.
team.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
yeah. And
But
so
that
that
was
was,
also-
but that's a British interpretation of wrestling that
Yeah.
people have grown up with, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, when World of Sport was on with those people, with those characters, like, it was the biggest thing with British television at the time.
Oh, yeah.
The ratings were
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Go and see them in theatres.
Yeah, that's what
I
it is.
remember them
Absolutely.
being in
And
books
then
and theatres.
the American one, they grew it to this kind of mainstream thing, which is now the format is a weekly show every Monday night and every Friday night on network television in America and over here. It's just been bought by Netflix and it's going to be on Netflix for $5 billion starting next January. It's going to stream on Netflix every Monday and Friday night.
Oh, you'll be excited,
So,
Chris.
I mean, I pay for TNT Sports just now just because that's on it. You know what I mean? So that's going to save me a couple of quid.
wow.
So you mean my Friday nights won't be this
We
anymore?
won't be doing this anymore. It's not until
Watching
one
the
tonight.
wrestling.
It's not until one tonight, you know. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's really nice to hear.
No,
It's-
it was a really. It's a brilliant story, actually. I think my favourite film recently that I've seen, actually,
That's nice to hear.
because the performances are brilliant.
Zac Efron's amazing.
Zac Efron, but I really like the guy Jeremy.
Jeremy Allen.
I like Jeremy. Yeah,
What's his name?
because the guy at the bear.
Guy
you
does
know?
the bear, yeah.
He's extraordinary.
Yeah.
I love that moment when he says to him, you know, I want you to step up, son, and try and work with your brothers and all that. And it's just that kind of the spell that the father has them under.
He's like,
And I
yes,
thought,
sir.
Yeah, he did it really, really well. There was no. It's the simple stuff like that I think when actors nail it, you think, oh right, that's
simple
that's
bits.
The family,
really,
the family
Yeah.
was very. Even when Zac Efron was so disappointed, there wasn't
Oh,
grumpiness
yeah.
going on. You know, it just they got on with it.
Yeah.
Get up and go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the moment and they're in the ring and the dad is doing the interview and all of his sons are behind him and there's the one son that's the kind of dafty, but he's not a wrestler. So he goes, "Oh, my sons, it's Kerry and Kevin,
Yeah.
and one day George, whatever his name is," and the guy's like,
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
like, "Okay, I'm gonna have
Interesting
to."
about the
'Cause he wants to be a
because he was
musician.
but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dad was a musician.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Fritz.
Yeah.
Fritz von Erich.
Yeah.
Yeah, great story. So recommended.
I'll
Totally
be
recommended.
going to see it.
Lovely. Well, thanks for having us.
No, thank you for having us over and bringing you
I
in
mean,
again.
I don't feel we're very good at talking about films because I forget. Am I supposed to make notes during the film or something?
This is something Iona started doing, and she says it's helped her, but she
Right.
forgets everything anyway.
Yeah.
So she needs to write stuff down.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
I've already forgotten what I've said about the films.
Yeah.
Just there.
Sorry, it's up to you. She's thinking you're not going to be back anyway, so just
No,
sit back
absolutely.
and enjoy the film, Amanda.
You two have always had this thing where you're going to start something, like a podcast or a
know.
thing.
Well, it
So this
certainly
is
wasn't
it.
going to be talking about films.
Yeah.
'Cause
But
it's
this
not like
this could
watching.
be the social media series like we just played with you talking about going in to see the Wooden Claw.
Uh-huh.
You could like talk about whatever. You could
And
talk
we
about life.
we could answer questions on, you know,
Agony.
agony. We could couples therapy.
Oh, in the name of God.
You could give me and Iona advice for lasting so long as a couple. How long? You said the last episode. How long together?
30 years
Just
There
saying.
you go.
last week.
Just saying.
It's a long time. It's longer than that
Living long time. We're
long time.
old
Yeah.
school
because I was sort of
establishment.
courting you, winching for a couple of years up to that. You know.
I liked the Pitlock repost.
I know.
How
that
nice.
was nice, wasn't it?
How nice.
That was
So
really
we're
nice.
legends.
Yeah.
Pitlockery legends.
We're Lockery legends.
Okay. Legends will do. Calm your jets.
We'll leave it there.
Yes.
Leave it there. Podcast legends now. Thank you everybody for listening and watching this episode of the Good Bit Podcast. Take care of yourselves and we'll catch you all down the road.
Bye.